out to Halas Hall we go. Nicholas Moreano, who has just done the fundamentals of getting in front of his camera, looking good. The beard looks phenomenal today. Nick, fundamentals were a big conversation there, and Caleb was talking about communication, and everybody in the chat thought it was about communication at the line of scrimmage. I was wondering if it was even more than that, communication on the sidelines too with our fine friend Shane Waldron. Like, what's your read on that main topic of today?
Yeah, let's start with the fundamentals because I think that Matt Eberflus does have a point when he's addressing some of those things that need to be cleaned up going into this Week 3 game against the Indianapolis Colts, like highlighting the one play where Darnell Wright completely whiffs on Danielle Hunter. That is a fundamental thing, knowing how to position yourself to block right, where your hips need to be, where your hands need to be, all those different types of things. So that's where you need to start. And he said it's not about scheme or doing any of those, any of that type of stuff. It's going back to the basics to try to correct some of these issues. So when Matt Eberflus brought that up before questions were even being asked to him in his opening comments, like I get exactly what he's talking about, because there are certain times where even on twists, like you got to know when to not overcommit and then come back to, face that looping defender. So I completely understand that, Carm. And then when it comes to the communication, yeah, I thought it wasn't just about like communicating with the players on the field, but also Caleb was talking about the communication of making in-game adjustments. And that's going to happen on the sideline with your offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. And, there were times throughout that game on Sunday night where, Caleb would sit there, speak with Shane Waldron. And then I think as the game went on, you saw that, I think with just frustration, Caleb would kind of wander the sidelines and not want to go, immediately back to that bench with Shane Waldron. I get that. So I think there's a little bit of everything going on there in terms of trying to figure out how to quickly correct the mistakes that were happening on Sunday night against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing that I liked hearing from Flus was where he told the story about a linebacker he coached that kept getting cut down. So then they just drilled it on him until he figured out to stop getting cut down. So like when you look at the issues that Caleb Williams has to, this unavoidable learning curve that he's going through right now, and they talked about the importance of practice today and throwing the things that he keeps seeing at him over and over until he gets it. How confident are you that they are able to do that to be able to be ready for Sunday when the Colts inevitably try to copycat what the Texans did to them?
Well, I'll just say this. I mean, just hearing Caleb Williams speak today and obviously being in the press conference there, he seemed confident that the mistakes that were happening last week, they can be correctable. When he was asked, where do you feel like you'll be really well soon in terms of the offense? The first thing he pointed to is just the being able to run the football. He said he has a confidence he'll break through. That is one of the things that will come faster than some of the other things. So that was one thing he highlighted. But then he was also asked about the fade ball to DJ Moore near the left sideline. And he also was pretty confident that we'll be hitting on those types of plays soon. So just hearing Caleb Williams, obviously throwing 2 interceptions, only scoring 1 offensive touchdown through 2 games, he seemed pretty confident that these mistakes that have been happening through the first 2 weeks are correctable, don't define them as an offense by any means, and that they can move on and make those proper adjustments. So whatever drills you have to do, if you have to throw more 5-man fronts where you're having those guys stunt and twist so Caleb can see it, make those adjustments. And I think with Matt Eberflus too, he said he was going to put more of his time devoted to the offense, which is understandable because the defense is doing its job. He feels like he could do both right now. So if you need to present those different looks to the offense so that they can understand it moving forward, that's what coaching is about, making the right adjustments from one week to another so that you don't see those same repeated mistakes.
Hit the like button for Nick if you can out at Halas Hall. Hit the like button for Baldy. Hit the like button if you're liking the show.
Hit the like button or I'll kick your ass.
Subscribing is a great thing, too. If you haven't subscribed, we do a daily Bears podcast. We moved from noon to 1 Central Time. If people are wondering why we're on a little bit later today, because the Bears have moved their press conferences around, and we want to be able to react to it with you. And, of course, pre and post for every Bears game, breaking news. Nobody covers the Bears like the CHGO Bears podcast does. Nick, You talked to Nate Davis today, is that right?
Yeah, so Nate Davis spoke in front of a group of reporters, and he was asked, obviously a handful of questions about protection issues. And he was, first off the bat, like obviously you talked about it in the beginning, Mark, where the word communication got brought up a lot. And then Nate Davis was asked, "Can you expand? What does that mean, communication?" And Nate Davis just said, just as a group, we need to be able to better communicate. It was a hostile environment in Houston, and just getting everyone on the same page. And I can tell you that they weren't happy with how they played. Nate Davis said that as a group offensively, they weren't happy. The one of the reasons why they weren't happy is because they didn't come out with a win. What I kind of wanted to hear from Nate Davis, not only is that they didn't come out with a win, but their quarterback got beat up for a majority of that football game. So just like hearing that from Nate Davis would have been nice as for one of the other reasons why they didn't feel happy about their performance. But they know that it's, 2 games. Nate Davis was saying there's a bunch of season left, and that the mistakes, again, that they were not the mistakes that were happening are correctable. So, obviously it looked really bad on Sunday night, but guys, I think this team feels like they can make those proper adjustments so we don't see another repeat performance like we did against the Texans.
Sorry, I just interrupted there, Nick, but I just got excited. Did anybody ask him, like, what it's like to be him right now with the amount of heat? Like, when anyone brings up his name, they want to kill him, basically. It can't be that fun to be Nate Davis right now in Chicago.
Yeah, so it didn't specifically ask what it's like being Nate Davis, but they did. One question was asked: when the outside world is saying it's all your fault collectively in offensive line, how do you respond or react to that? And Nate Davis said, we're not trying to worry about the noise too much. Keep everything in house. Again, we weren't happy in house because we didn't win, so you got to try to reset. So he didn't specifically say what it's like being Nate Davis, even though he is a millionaire and obviously football is football, but yeah, obviously it's not the best thing to be right now.
I mean, I don't know his entire life, but I'm pretty certain that I would trade my life to be Nate Davis. So would you want to be Nate Davis rather than you?
No, I'm good.
No, you love being you. I know
me.
you. Nobody.
There ain't nobody love me like me. Come on now.
But
I get it, Carm. You can relate to Nate Davis, on the CHGO.
Ask a question.
You are the Nate Davis of the CHGO Bears podcast.
Mark Nate Davis,
Everybody
Carmen, right
hates
here.
you. Everybody, that's the whole. Where's Pizzatola when you need him? It is interesting, Nick. When you hear, everybody talk about communication and nobody's specifically throwing anyone under the bus, and it is a collective, and I think at the end of the day that this is the answer that nobody wants. Everybody wants it to be one problem always. It's either the coach or the quarterback or the offensive play caller. And it's like at the end of the day, it is everybody. Everybody's taking a turn, making a mistake, and they all need to come together with continuity. Eberflus said they're not making any changes to the offensive line. Did that surprise you at all?
No, not because the reason why is because that word continuity has been brought up way before they were even playing. Up 2 games into the regular season, they wanted to have continuity, but just based off the injuries and inconsistency of some guys practicing, they weren't able to have that. So it's no surprise to me that they're not having any changes along the offensive line. Tevin Jenkins dealing with the deep thigh bruise also doesn't help. So he didn't practice today. So it doesn't surprise me that they're not switching things around. Like Matt Pryor would probably be your option then if you're looking to replace Nate Davis. And I don't think this is the time to do that. They know they made mistakes. Let's see them adjust from what didn't work last week and then see if they can correct those mistakes moving forward.
Nick, do you believe Caleb when he says that the run game is going to click soon?
I believe a bit of it. It was tough to see exactly, how he sees it clicking. But when you have the next 3 opponents that the Bears have, starting with the Indianapolis Colts, this is your best option. There is no DeForest Buckner. They gave up 200 plus against the Packers. So if you're going to get it started, it's got to start this week. And they have some playmakers at the running back position. And if there are just, a few more blocks getting to the second level from certain guys, I think DeAndre Swift does have some bigger runs. So there are parts of me that want to believe it. But at this point, like we say this all the time about the Bears beating the Packers, we just need to see it happen first.
Yeah, We all want to believe it. Run, Forrest, run. They can do this. Hey, last one, Nick. You got a piece coming out with Kyler Gordon?
Yeah, I was able to talk to a couple of the players in the locker room, do some, deep dive on just some of the plays that happened. But I wanted to ask him about the near interception that he had that, Eberflus challenged. And without revealing too much, when he was watching that play, like Kyler was like, he's like, damn, he was hurting seeing the play happen because he knew he should have pick six. But he also told me that the ref said if he would have called an interception on the field, then they wouldn't have any evidence to overturn it. They said it was that close. So if it was called that way, Kyler Gordon believes that he would have had his first pick six of his NFL career.
That kills me. And I had a feeling that was the case. We were talking about it in our pre-show meeting that I didn't think it would have been overturned. And it's frustrating because I nailed the Tyreek Stevenson breakout player of the week 1, pick six to win the game. And I had Kyler Gordon as my breakout player of the week in week 2, and he had the pick six. If they'd have just let the play on, pick six, take the lead, Bears win, player of the game, Greg Wright, 2 weeks in a row. Just missed it. Yeah. Not so humble brags.
That was an official being nice to Kyler. You dropped the ball. It was on the ground. Play was over. Get out of here. Do better. Catch the ball. Run into end zone. It was a sweet play. Baldy's got a great breakdown of it. I highly recommend an at Baldy to check that out. All right, Nick. Thank you for popping in here, my friend. You looked fantastic as always. Your background's a little different today. I don't know if you moved spots, but whatever you're doing with the nice beige taupe situation, it's all coming together beautifully. So congrats.
Thank you, Mark. Hey, congrats to you and the rest of the CHGO softball team. You guys went out there and did. I was watching on the live stream. You kicked ass again, brought back the championship to CHGO. So congrats to you too.
Where were you, Nick? How come I put it out there in the chat? Who's in? Moreano, one of my key guys.
You won the championship,
but he never even responded. You didn't.
I was traveling the whole day, Mark. I was getting on 3 different flights to get back from Houston, and on 3 hours of sleep. I would have just brought the team down. You didn't want that. You guys did your thing, and you obviously didn't need me. So I was watching on the live stream though. So it was fun to watch that and see you guys get the dub.
All right. Well, listen, you were a huge part of the team. You signed this ball when you get in here because we wouldn't have won it without you. Okay, fine, we would have, but you still were you were a key component. Damn it, Nicholas Moreano, you're one of my favorites out there. So, I know you'll be back for the three-peat. When we take down.
Oh, no doubt about it. I'll be back, and hopefully not. I almost lost us a game this season, single-handedly. So I'll try not to do that for next season, and we'll be in a good spot.
I did forget about that fly ball to center field that went through your hands, and you nearly cost us the entire season. But I won't think about that at all.
Alejandro in the chat says Shane of 670 Scores said only one CHGO player in the lineup works for CHGO.
Oh, is that what he said?
Do you have a response to Shane Reardon?
I mean,
who's obviously peanut butter and jelly right now.
Does Mario work here?
Yeah, Mario works here.
Does Herb work here?
Herb works here. I heard he had a big hit too.
Okay. Let me think. Does Joey Spathis work here?
Joey works here.
Okay. All right. Does does Ryan Herrera work here?
Ryan Herrera works here.
Okay. Okay. Do I work here?
You work here.
Okay. We can go through their lineup.
Yeah.
And who works it there and who doesn't work there.
We can.
I mean, of the primetime people that actually talk on the air over there, I saw one.
Yeah. So we'll go tomorrow's show.
I didn't see Bernstein.
Tomorrow's show, we'll shelf the Bears talk and we'll break down softball roster lineups. So we got to get going.
I didn't see Haw. I didn't see Mully. I didn't see
Bernstein.
I didn't see Bernstein. Didn't see Holmes. I didn't see Rahimi. I saw Holmes. See you later, Nick. Whatever, Shane. That's my guy. That's fine.
We all silly like the mayor.